Hi, everyone. We're really excited that you're all here. I'm Jessica, and I manage the Share Learning Initiative at the Learning Policy Institute. And this is actually our ninth learning session in our multilingual shared learning series. As you will see, the topic here for today, it's partnering to advance strong college and career-ready linked learning pathways. And so through this session, we're going to unpack why these pathways are important and beneficial for students and also learn from two different examples. And just like all of our past sessions, today's session was co-designed with the California Partnership for the Future of Learning, which you'll hear a little bit about in a second. And as part of that co-design, we match the local needs to the expertise of researchers, students, families, organizers, schools, and districts. So with that, I want to invite Kareem Ransom, who is the organizing director at Californians for Justice. And Kareem is going to share about who the California Partnership is.
Thank you, Jessica, and hello, everyone. As Jessica shared, my name is Kareem Ransom. I'm the organizing director with Californians for Justice. I've been here for nearly 8 months now, and I've already learned so much about PFL and the positive impact it's had on our young people. CFJ is an anchor organization of the California Partnership. Some of y'all may know this, but ensuring we're all on the same page, the California Partnership is a statewide alliance of community organizing and advocacy groups, advancing a shared vision of racially just, relationship-centered community schools that confront the historical legacy and generational impact of inequitable schooling in California and the country to birth a transformational education system built for all. The partnership is led by Californians for Justice, Catalyst California, Pico California, and public advocates with the support of Building Healthy Community Kern, Building Healthy Communities Monterey County, Community Coalition, and Inner City Struggle. Our growing network includes over 30 grassroots, research, and philanthropic partners. Many of them are reflected here in this graphic. Our partnerships include organizations collaborating in over 41 districts in 14 counties across California. We center equity and elevate the voices of student and family of color in partnership with educators, and we focus on long-term systemic change. To make this vision real, we are advancing student-centered, culturally sustaining deeper learning, diverse, prepared, supported educators, equitable and full funding, schools of belonging and inclusion, and student and family power. Because of all the hard work that many of us have dedicated, California is making bold investments in this intentional and effective community school strategy so school works for all of us, especially Black, Indigenous, multilingual learners, and all those who've historically been the furthest from educational opportunity. The California Partnership is currently supporting Governor Newsom's budget proposal for $1 billion dollars in an ongoing funding to support and expand the transformative community schools approach across the state. This equity focused based budget proposal would move community schools into the state education funding formula. It would mean $1 billion dollars per year for schools serving 65% or more students who are low income, English learners, and or foster youth. The number of school communities with access to the funds and support to implement the community schools approach would expand from almost 2,500 schools to over 6,000 of California's 10,000 schools. At the high school level, we have heard many students and their families share their visions for safe, welcoming community schools that support joyful learning, including diverse college and career pathways. And last year, we conducted a listening campaign where we heard from 1,840 Californians across 12 counties. Responses came through surveys, interviews, and community conversations hosted by 23 community-based organizations and networks rooted in relationship-based practices like on one-on-ones, small groups, and multilingual listening sessions. And what we heard is students and families shared their hopes and dreams for students. These include equitable access to opportunities, enrichment and real-world experiences, safe, welcoming, well-resourced schools, and clear pathways from cradle to college, career, and economic mobility. The specific solutions identified to support student college and career readiness include opportunities for college credit and preparation, development of practical life skills, and access to diverse career pathways and professions, which is the topic for today's lesson. And this topic is really meaningful to me because, I was an inner city kid who was really fortunate enough to have mentors in a community that exposed me to real pathways that ultimately led me to college. And even with that support, it still wasn't easy. That's why I don't take it lightly that so many Black, brown, and other impacted students are being asked to make life decisions without real guidance or guardrails. And in this moment, young people are constantly asking, what's next? And too often they're met with uncertainty instead of direction. And that's why giving them access to information, exposure, and real alternatives matter. Opportunities like PFL create space for that, opening up multiple roadmaps and helping young people see what's possible. Because a lot of our youth, especially after hearing from our CFJ youth, just knowing you have choices, that alone could be life-changing when access, mentorship, and resources haven't always been there. And with all that, I'll pass it back to Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karim. That's super inspiring. And also for contextualizing what led to us to focus that topic, right, on career pathways following the listening campaign results. So, to also ground us on the panels that we will engage in a little bit, I want to introduce Cheryl Jones Walker, who directs the Center for School and System Redesign at the Learning Policy Institute. And Cheryl will ground us with the research behind the linked learning pathways.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much, Jessica. Thanks, Kareem, also for setting the groundwork. I'm really excited to be here this afternoon to talk about transforming the high school experience to better meet the needs of today's learners. What I'm going to do is talk about redesigning high school by integrating two evidence-based approaches to center learners and to engage communities. I'll begin talking about why we need to redesign schools and share features that lead to positive educational outcomes. And I'll point out outcomes that go beyond grades and test scores, features like engagement, a sense of belonging and purpose, emotional well-being. These are critical conditions when we those that were just referenced by Kareem as priorities that were shared during the 2025 listening campaign. I know that PFL I know that PFL has organized for and done a deep dive into the pillars of community schools model, which provide a very strong complement to linked learning pathways. And when implemented together, multiply the power of both of these initiatives. In LAUSD, the district has made the integration of these sibling approaches one of their instructional priorities, and I'll return with a few examples later. I'll discuss the elements of linked learning pathways and share findings related to how participating in the program impacts learners' experiences and their outcomes. Why redesign schools? As was mentioned earlier, the current model of schooling is not working very well. A large national study of high school learners felt in 2020 less than 30% of learners find that school is caring or supportive. Most students don't feel well known by any adult in their building, and 75% of learners say that they are tired, stressed, or bored by school. So for sure, we are not meeting their needs, and coursework is not seen as relevant to their current lives or to their future goals. We've seen waves of reform and school change efforts over the past 30 to 40 years, but fundamentally, the design, curriculum, and structures of school haven't changed for well over 100 years. In the 1900s, they were designed to be efficient. Often we saw isolated teachers instructing large numbers of students and kind of covering a large array of discrete content areas and facts that would later be regurgitated either orally or in tests. We saw tracking, folks saw tracking as a way to meet students' needs and to prepare them for appropriate pathways. Too often, those were determined for young people, and students were selected and sorted. Often, that was informed by their identities, whether it was race, class, gender, nationality. We know that schools and district goals should be shaped by the interests and needs of learners, and their voices should inform policies, curriculum, and instructional practices. In college and career pathway programs, center students' interests and goals, and learning is often applied in a variety of contexts. So, what are linked learning pathways? The educators, students, community members will give you very concrete examples of that, but in broad strokes, in a redesigned school, such as a linked learning pathway, educators attend to the whole person by focusing on the conditions of the environment and the processes to support both learning and development. This means that classrooms and schools are personalized rather than large and bureaucratic. The goal is for the curriculum and instruction to be authentic and relevant. So that means it's presented often in applied modalities like work-based learning. In these schools, the learner is centered and they are co-creating expectations, norms, and learning experiences. So there are a lot of models, a lot of frameworks, a lot of programs, and worse yet, there's different terminology that's implied or implemented differently. But in order to effectively redesign and sustain improvements, we must create coherence, which includes a shared vision, alignment of values, and goals, and a clear plan. So this kind of lines up high school redesign features, linked learning pathways, and the community schools pillars. In 2024, LPI released a report on high school redesign, 10 features for success. And the report provided strong evidence based around the structures, practices, and policies of successful high schools. So we've bucketed those 10 features into 3 redesigned principles you see on the left. That's challenging instruction, relationship-centered learning, and creating professional capacity around effective teaching and leading, particularly around cultural relevance and sustained instruction on young people's identities. You can see the clear alignment between these features, the elements of linked learning, and the community school pillars. You see integrated support showing up in the middle row for both of those. And that really means when decisions are driven by knowing a student well, to understand their academic, social, and emotional needs, as well as their personal or career interests, in order to identify resources in the classroom, in the school, or in the community that ensure the best possible outcomes for the students. I mentioned LAUSD, which has a large number of community schools, but also has intentionally focused on the ways in which community schools and linked learning pathways can be integrated in coherent ways. And in doing so, the district has looked at practices to support this integration by creating secondary school specialists to support industry partnerships and experiential learning. And they've also intentionally aligned tools in the district and also streamlined application, onboarding of grantees, and reporting processes, which is really what we need to see in order for educators and community members to see a holistic vision which can be implemented and sustained over time. So in 2022, California established the Golden State Pathways program to prepare graduates for high demand careers. The program facilitates collaboration between educators, community organizers, and industry partners. And we know that if youth are exposed during high school to career pathways and college courses, it leads to greater opportunity both in the workforce and in college and career training programs. This isn't a model, it's a systemic approach that requires a change in structures, mindsets at the level of the classroom, the pathway, the district, the school, and the community. Sorry. So before we go on to talk about student outcomes, it's really important to know who the College and Career Pathway Program is serving in the state. And this graph shows that the Golden State Pathway Program grantees serve a higher number of Latino and low-income students. And as we move on to kind of think about outcomes in a wide range of ways, that's important to keep in mind. So what do students say about their experience in school? In June 2023, the Link Learning Alliance published results from students. The Link Learning Alliance published results from a student survey, and students expressed feeling motivated and prepared for their post-secondary plans. They thought that their learning experiences were both meaningful and they fostered stronger bonds, both in their communities, but also as they engaged in their coursework. And they also said there was a deeper sense of connection and agency as a result of the relationships and supports that they were offered. Many students express the value of expanding college and career pathways throughout the state of California. So for a minute, think back to where we started. The national survey suggested that many students, 30%, found their school not caring and supportive. 75% said they were stressed, tired, or bored. These results from Link Learning Pathways in the state of California really show the opposite experience that students are having. So this is a senior at OUSD at an Oakland Unified School District. And we can see from this quote that students feel supported because of one-on-one personalized instruction that's offered when it's needed. Through these one-on-one experiences where a teacher is able to explain a difficult concept and help the class move forward when they're struggling. Through those experiences, students develop deep relationships and they see their educators' investment in their success. So this talks about early insights from a study of the Golden State Pathway Program. It was conducted in 2025 by the Public Policy Institute. What we see here is that as pathway programs have been implemented, there is greater alignment between the career and technical education and students' graduation requirements, which are A through G in California. So since 2025, nearly half of California high schoolers are now participating in a pathway program. It's about 46% in the state. And while previously CTE was seen as an alternative to college prep, we now see that the recipients of the Golden State Grant offer coursework that represents college preparation and connects their career courses to graduation or career planning. High schools are working hard to build capacity through their schedules, through partnerships, in order to offer robust work-based learning experiences, often paid, and also apprenticeship programs. So these findings are from a multi-year educational study that was conducted by SRI, and they document the ways in which dropout rates, graduation rates, and the number of accumulated credits really change significantly with students engaged in career pathways programs or linked learning academies in particular, but more than 2 times the change occurred for students who had lower achievement records before they were in a pathway. So we see, in addition to an increase of course accumulation, some students over 8 credits and those students who had lower academic performance prior to joining the pathway had 15.5 additional credits that they earned once they were involved in the career pathway programs. So we can see from some of these studies that Latino students, lower income students, and students with lower academic achievement benefited most actually from the career pathway experiences. So here are some of these significant investments that have been made in the state of California. These are quite historic investments all around school transformation. And if our goal is to support the connection to career, a strong learning foundation, and post-secondary acceleration, we have to continue these investments, perhaps double down on them. And that means that we need to invest and document the impact of the Golden State Pathway programs, offer additional work-based learning and apprenticeship opportunities and early career exposure, as well as regional occupation programs. We also need to stay the course with the community schools investments, which has been named as one of the agendas for the partnership. In order to facilitate the transition to life after high school, we also see dual enrollment, early college models, and college advising and workforce planning as a critical piece of this work. The last area I spoke less about and sharing some of the findings here, but they are no less important to attend to as we think about supporting, advising, and creating pathway structures through the community schools work and through college and career pathways. We have really strong evidence of how to create rigorous, relevant, and relational education experiences for students. Now we need to build the infrastructure to launch, to deepen, and to sustain this work alongside young people. We can see from the quantitative and qualitative studies on a range of measures that career and college pathway programs better support learners, and in some measures, they have twice the impact on students with the greatest needs. I'll pass it back to Jessica.
Thank you, Cheryl. Well, I think we can all agree we are ready for the panels, right? With that context, I want to welcome Esther Solomon, who is Vice President of Pathways Implementation at the Link Learning Alliance, and Esther will be facilitating our first panel.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm excited to be here as part of the Link Learning Alliance. Our goal is to support and work with districts, schools, and teachers to combine college and career preparation that includes an integrated program of study, work-based learning experiences, and integrated student support. So every student graduates ready to pursue a full range of post-secondary options, whether trade school, college, or other credentialing programs. Today, we're going to be featuring the Marketing, Sales, and Service Link Learning Pathway at the School of Business and Tourism at Miguel Contreras Learning Complex. The School of Business and Tourism is a community school in the Los Angeles Unified School District. We're looking forward to learning from our panel. And with us today, we have Dr. Isabel Morales, former Community Schools Coordinator at the School of Business and Tourism, and currently Instructional Advisor for the Community Schools Initiative at LAUSD. Also from the School of Business and Tourism, we have Kristen Padilla. Kristen is a career and technical education high school educator in the Marketing, Sales, and Service pathway. And Julissa Cabrera, 11th grade student, currently in Kristen's advanced class, Virtual Enterprise International. Isabel, the first question will be for you. Would you provide for us an overview of the business and tourism pathway at Miguel Contreras and how it came to be?
Sure. So I actually started my career with two business and tourism teachers. So we call it BT. So you'll hear us saying BT. So I started my career with two BT teachers about 20 years ago when I was a student teacher learning how to teach. And at that time, BT was a small learning community within a larger comprehensive school that was located in a vibrant community that served Latino and Filipino students from Westlake, Pico Union, Echo Park, historic Filipino town, just west of downtown. So at this time, the school had a really large student population. And so the teacher leaders of the school basically became part of the small schools movement to develop personalized learning pathways for students. And so the founding teachers of the School of Business and Tourism, which at that time was an academy, they saw the assets in the neighborhood. They saw that, there were small businesses, large corporations, Hollywood, the tourism industry, and they were well aware of the socioeconomic needs of the community. And so they created this Business and Tourism Academy to provide students with a pathway to economic stability. And at the time, the students in this densely populated school, they only had two schools to choose from, and a new school had not been built for 100 years. And so as new schools started to be constructed in the early 2000s, BT moved over to a new site, which is where it's still currently located, Miguel Contreras. It established itself as a pilot school with teacher autonomy. It became a gold certified linked learning school, and it most recently became a community school in 2023. And so I went back to BT as the community school coordinator in 2023. So it was a very nice full circle moment and to be working with the people that taught me how to teach.
How wonderful. Thank you. Kristen, what was your journey into becoming a teacher at the School of Business and Tourism, and how do you bring your background into your role?
Yeah, so I actually am originally from Kansas. I graduated from a university in Kansas, and I my whole major passion was the fashion industry. So what brought me out to Los Angeles was working for Nordstrom. So when I went to college, I always knew I wanted to be an educator. I just didn't know when I wanted to be an educator. I actually fell in love with fashion design in high school because of my career and technical education class. We were a big pathway school at the school that I went to in Kansas at high school. And so I just knew that career and technical education had such an impact on me that eventually I knew I wanted to be a teacher in that realm. And then COVID happened, the fashion industry changed a lot, and I was like, you know what, let me see if I can get my credential out in California. It all worked out. And then my first school that I interviewed at was actually the School of Business and Tourism. And throughout the time of getting my credential, I started a business, an online fashion clothing store with a business partner I met out here. And it just all kind of played into each other. And so now I'm currently teaching marketing, sales, and service at the School of Business and Tourism. I've been there for I'm going on my fourth year now. And it's just, I have such a passion for career and technical education because you bring such an added element to the classroom. You bring in that work experience and the real world aspect, and it's not so curriculum heavy. I'm a very creative person, so it gives the students the opportunity to kind of bring the real life into the classroom. And so I incorporate that with business and entrepreneurship and really just hear what the students see out in the real world, right? What they're watching, what they're hearing. Why do you buy the things you buy? And really bring that aspect into the classroom, getting them ready for careers. We focus on resumes, cover letters, the changing world that we're in, right? With technology constantly changing. Even just a meeting like we're having right now with 200 people online, the etiquette of that, right? So I really try to teach real world business concepts, whether that be getting a job or, working in an industry, really truly finding what they're passionate about.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Those CTE classes are so valuable. Julissa, we want to hear about your coursework in the pathway. So let's focus on the virtual enterprise class that you're taking with Kristen. Can you describe the product you designed and the competitions where you get to share it?
Yeah, so one of the most impactful classes that I'm currently taking is Virtual Enterprise, which is taught by Ms. Padilla. And what really makes this class stand out is that it's completely project-based and hands-on. So instead of just learning concepts, we apply them in real-world situations. And it also allows students to have a voice in what we create, which makes the work feel meaningful and personal. For example, in our class, we conducted surveys among students at our school, and we found that mental health was a major concern, especially with stress and anxiety. And then, based on that, we designed a product called a Cuddle Critter, which is essentially a comfort item that combines a plush with a scented aromatherapy to help people relax and feel supported during stressful moments like exams or overwhelming days. And then to run our business, our class was divided into 5 departments: human resources, accounting, marketing, design, and technology. I was a part of the marketing department where I created campaigns that drove our target market towards us while standing out from our competitors. I also had the opportunity to manage our company's social media, which was a new experience for me. It was nothing like it wasn't something that I had done before. And this gave me a real understanding of how businesses operate and how each department plays a role in overall success. We also had the opportunity to take our product to competitions and like trade shows, including ones in San Diego and Bakersfield. And at these events, we presented our business and product to judges. We also networked with other students and competed in different categories, and we took home a few prizes, a few certificates. And through these competitions, I developed a lot of academic and professional skills. I strengthened my public speaking and communication skills by pitching our ideas clearly and confidently. I also improved my critical thinking and problem solving skills because we had to answer judges' questions on the spot and adapt quickly. And I also learned how to collaborate effectively with a team under pressure and manage time efficiently when preparing for competitions and deadlines. Overall, the virtual enterprise has given me a real world learning experience that goes beyond classroom, and has helped me grow both academically and personally.
What great opportunities, and you sure took advantage of them. That's fantastic. Thank you. Isabel, given your role as a former community schools coordinator and now district staff, can you speak on the key systems and structures that have supported the linked learning pathways and the role that community schools model play?
Yeah, it was very cool to work at a school that was both linked learning and a community school. So community schools are rooted in shared power, where decisions are made by the school community, and that includes students, teachers, families, industry partners, community members. So a key feature of community schools is the community school coordinator, who carries out a comprehensive asset and needs assessment with students, families, and staff. So the students, this is when Yulisa was a ninth grader that we did this. The students helped develop a 34-question survey aligned to the community school pillars and values. And so in that spirit of shared power and collaborative decision making, LAUSD encouraged us, the coordinators, to ensure that a supermajority was reflected. And so they wanted, over 75% of people to respond, and we got well over that. And so the survey at BT revealed that students wanted field trips, paid opportunities, clubs and internships, and work-based learning opportunities. And so that really drove my work. And it basically was like, okay, the students are saying like, continue to like support and strengthen the linked learning work happening here. Survey responses from families indicated that they wanted academic support, college guidance, and field trips. And so that also guided my work, and I worked closely with the lead teacher, the CTE teachers, and the rest of the staff to connect students to these opportunities. So some of the things that came about as a result was we helped push through the MOU with the Miguel Contreras Foundation, which formalized a partnership between the foundation and the school to provide career exploration opportunities, scholarships, internships to students. We connected students to paid linked learning internships, paid opportunities with the City of LA, career exploration opportunities with the Los Angeles City Tourism Department. And a huge part of my role was ensuring that the school resources were aligned to what the school community was saying it needed. And so that, had to do with budget transparency, listening to students, families, and staff, connecting them to like the school budget and saying like, actually, there is money for the things you say you want. And so we aligned our community school resources, our community school budgets to CTE opportunities, using the funds to help pay for some of the opportunities that Ms. Padilla was spearheading. So some of the competitions, the registration fees, travel accommodations. I remember Ms. Padilla saying that the students really wanted matching suits, that looking the part would really help boost their confidence and feel like, they were like on an even like playing field with the other peers that were competing against them. And so we reached out to partners who helped us fund suits for those competitions. And so it's just been really great to see students, teachers, and families feel supported through the community school strategy and resources.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for all those very definitive ways it was helpful. Kristen, on the theme of integration and supportive structures, we want to ask you, can you give an example of how teachers work together to integrate career and technical education classes with traditional content courses?
Yeah, at the School of Business and Tourism, one thing that I think we do a phenomenal job at is we are heavy on project-based learning, but we do it grade level focused. So the students will do 2 projects per year, one each semester. They'll have a fall PBL and a spring PBL. So what I do, I teach 11th and 12th grade. So 11th grade, I am with them in the fall. But this year, since now I'm kind of 4 years in, I was able to juggle both. I worked with the 11th and the 12th grade on both projects. So basically, it starts with me, but there's always an essential topic. And then each week, teachers within professional development, we integrate into our like PD series. We meet with our grade level team. So when we're working with 11th grade team, basically the English, math, history, and myself and Spanish, we all work together to come up with this big project where each person has a component. I kind of lead or have the majority of the component as far as the design and the marketing of what this is, but the essential question is always centered around business or entrepreneurship. Um, and this fall PBL was the essential question was how could you create a tour bus company within Los Angeles to get tourists to come and want to see based on themes where they are going to go in Los Angeles.
A great real world project. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. And Julissa, how has the pathway supported you academically and with you overall, and with your overall well-being?
So academically, I'd say it's pushed me to step outside of my comfort zone and take on leadership roles. For example, I was inspired to apply for, and I was also accepted into a CEO position for my virtual enterprise class next school year, where I'll be able to continue developing my leadership and decision-making skills. The opportunity came directly from the confidence and experience that I've gained through this pathway, as well as Ms. Padilla's help. She encouraged me to apply. And even though I plan to pursue a career in science, the business skills that I've learned here are something I know I'll carry with me no matter what field I go into, because they're universal and incredibly valuable. Through this pathway, I've developed strong communication and public speaking skills, along with teamwork and collaboration. I've also grown as a leader, learning how to manage responsibilities and make decisions while also strengthening my critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. On top of that, I've also built skills in time management and professionalism, as well as gaining experience with marketing, branding, and basic financial literacy. And I think that all of these skills have helped me become more confident and prepare for whatever path I choose in the future. This pathway has also opened up like opportunities for me. For example, I previously volunteered with my school's summer bridge program where I supported incoming freshmen as they transitioned into high school. And through that experience, I developed strong communication and mentorship skills, and I also learned how to guide and support other people in a meaningful way. And this summer, I'm excited to continue that work as a paid intern, which shows how this pathway creates opportunity for growth and advancement.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful. That's great. Thank you. Kristen, can you share some examples of how some of your students are succeeding in life post high school?
Yeah, so now that I'm year 4 at the School of Business and Tourism, it's been very rewarding, I would say, as an educator. Just reading as they apply for colleges or as they get scholarships or even recommendations. Year 1 out of high school, they're still reaching out to me, Miss, I'm doing this. Can you help me with this? So currently, my first year that I started teaching there, I had this advanced class that I kind of just took over from the teacher that retired. And I really wanted, I'm a very competitive person, really wanted to go in and be like, okay, I'm going to make this my own. And the leaders in that class, actually, 2 of them still are in very much contact with me. One is about to graduate from UC Riverside, and the other one is about to graduate from UC Berkeley. One of them is actually, she went in as a business major and then she's like, I think I want to teach. And so now she's going to school to be a teacher, elementary school, and I'm just so proud of her. And then the one at Berkeley is actually engineering major. And she went right out of high school. I still remember she was super scared. And just how much they always bring up virtual enterprise or even our project-based learning, right? They hate it while they're in high school, right? And they complain about it. And then when they get out of high school, they're like, oh, I'm so thankful for the presentations. I'm so thankful for the teamwork projects that we had. And it's really, they actually just came to visit. Julissa got to meet them 2 weeks ago. They came to visit on their spring break and they stopped by. And it's just 3 years later how much they've grown. And one of them was even about to go to community college right out of high school. And then she got this scholarship. And I still remember her in tears. So it's very rewarding, just motivating them and trying to get them out of the environment that they're currently in right now within their demographic.
Wow, what a wonderful pathway. Thank you for sharing that. So, thank you for the rich discussion. And we're now going to select some questions that have been pre-submitted or via live chat. So I'll start with the first question from a parent. And panelists, let's try and keep your answers to about 2 minutes each so that we can get through as many questions as possible. And we'll try to do 1 or 2 responses for each question. So for the first one, it comes from a parent who is asking, and maybe Kristen or Julissa, you can chime in here. How can I support my child to choose his career? He's in 12th grade and he currently has no notion of what career to choose.
I always tell students, Julissa could probably agree with what she's heard me say this. I always tell students, well, what are you watching? Right? What are you listening to? Why are you clicking on the things that you're clicking on? Because everything now, students are just watching an algorithm or we're on the internet all the time. So it's like, what's grabbing your attention? And why is it grabbing your attention? Because now we live in a world where there's so many industries, right? Is it a commercial that's grabbing your attention? Is it the way they made that commercial? Because if so, that's a career, right? So I think that, or is it a video game, right? Now there's a lot of video game software development, even educational video games now, right? So I just think try to find what you're constantly watching or what you're constantly interested in, and that's going to lead you to what you're passionate about.
Great. Isabella or Lisa, how, again, this parent is asking, how can he or she support his or her child?
Yeah, I think definitely helping your child learn what their strengths are, what their interests are, what they value, right? And then how can they then develop a stable career, right? That provides them with pay, benefits, health insurance, things like that. Sometimes younger students don't think about that. They're
Right.
just maybe like, oh, I want to do this thing. It's
Mommy, is there
interesting.
a shell I could use?
Got
So kind of helping provide them with that perspective as well, right? Of like the importance of having a career that provides that type of stability. Yulisa?
Yeah, kind of going off of what Dr. Morales said, yeah, just having a understanding kind of, and what Miss Padilla said too, having an understanding of what is grabbing your attention and like what you value. Um like me, I honestly I don't know what I'm gonna do in the future, but I do have kind of an understanding of what I like. I know I like science, like that kind of stuff. I know I want to go in that area of study. I'm not entirely sure, but I know I can figure that out eventually.
Excellent. And this one is a partnership for children and youth is requesting this question has asked posing this question for Isabel. How are expanding learning settings and resources, funding, staffing, etc., included or not included in this research and or practice spotlights?
Yeah, so expanded learning opportunities, that is one of the community school pillars. And so when coordinators are trained and onboarded, they learn that is one of the things that drives their work. And so part of that comprehensive asset and needs assessment is finding out what is the staff saying, students, families, so that as you go off and search for partnerships, search for opportunities, you're not doing it in a random way. You're doing it in a way where the voices of the school community are guiding that. And so that's why for me at the School of Business and Tourism, it was very much about helping students, helping establish certain clubs. So Yulisa and a lot of students are really interested in the STEM fields. And so we developed the mathletes, the math competition, which she was a part of, and they did very well. We also launched esports, right? So ensuring that these expanded learning opportunities are aligned to student interests, and they definitely were. And talking to teachers, right? And ensuring that they felt supported. And so I remember the 10th grade team saying, we want to go to hotels. We want our students to see these amazing hotels that serve as sites for the Olympics and the World Cup. And we want them to hear from, the College of Hospitality at Cal Poly. So yeah, just like listening and then making those connections happen.
Great. And we're going to take our last question right now from Andre Spearman. And it's for any of you three, whoever can think of a response that you'd like to share with the public. How do you try to create or adapt pathways to match the changing and challenging influence of AI and social media?
I think that as an educator, right, in career and technical education, I think that's why sometimes I tell the students why I love being a career and education teacher versus an English or math teacher, is we get the ability to bring in that real world because the way I see it is it's unavoidable, right? Everything is going to have something to do in this world with how fast technology is changing with AI. Or with integrating how to use it, right? The same way we had to learn how to use Google, and now Google is changing to AI, right? So I feel like I really just try to bring in what's going on with the news and what's going on with the world, especially from a business standpoint. Well, ChatGPT is like monetizing off of all of this now, right? And then you take it into business concepts of now they're this powerhouse of a company, or why is Google such this big company and why do they own so many different things? So I really try to just bring in what we're using and how it's a business into the world. Because once you understand that, you're like, oh, this is how they're making money. And maybe it'll spark an idea for them to make money. But I think just really utilizing how people are using it and why they're using it from a business standpoint.
Thank you, Kristen. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Jessica. Thank you so much, panelists.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you to all of you. I know I definitely didn't want the panel to end, but we want to get you out on time. So the next panel will be facilitated by actually Esther's colleague, Dan Stortz, who is Vice President and Pathways Implementation Vice President at the Language Learning Alliance. And go ahead, Dan, for the second panel.
All right, thanks, Jessica. And we're going to turn from one inspirational pathway, an amazing community, to another in San Bernardino in the San Bernardino City Unified School District. And for this panel, we have with us Dr. Sudha Venkatesan, the Director of Secondary Education, College and Career. We have Laura Smith, who is the District Link Learning Program Specialist and who is also one of the founders of the Educators for Tomorrow Academy. And we have Demetrius Chronopoulos, who is the Link Learning Program Specialist and CTE Department Chair at Arroyo Valley High School. And Alani Chapman, Educators for Tomorrow Academy alumna of 2025, and a former youth leader with Inland Congregations United for Change at Arroyo Valley High School. And finally, we have Angela Cardenas, who is youth organizer with Inland Congregations United for Change as well. And so just a reminder, if you have questions that come up for you during the panel, please put them in the chat and we will get to them if there's time at the end of the panel. So let's get started. And let's start with a question for Laura Smith. As one of the founding teachers of Educators for Tomorrow, can you share with us where did the vision for Educators for Tomorrow come from and who was involved in the initial stages of implementing the vision?
Of course, thank you. Happy to be here. I just wanted to say that I think the absolute vision came from the community. And we had a principal from another high school who was running an after-school future teachers club. And she moved to Arroyo Valley High School when it opened in 2001. With the vision and listening to the community that this was something that was really integral in for our students and our future teaching for our workforce. And so she applied for a California Partnership Academy grant through the California Department of Education. And through this grant, we were able to start a school within a school. And Arroyo Valley is a very large school of 3,000 students. And the California Partnership Academy, the model focuses on a cohort of students that share the same teachers. So for 3 years, they travel together. This group of students travel from their career technical education class to 3 different academic core subject areas. So English, science, and social studies. And so they're together. This group of students are together almost all day long. And just naturally, the master schedule would keep them cohorted with PE in their foreign language or, their extra classes. This became the foundation for the linked learning pathway. And the role that I played in that was helping write the grant. I had come over from teaching in elementary school, third grade for 8 years, and super excited to teach the classes. I helped write the curriculum for teacher training 1, 2, and 3 based off my teacher credentialing courses at Cal State San Bernardino and the wonderful textbook you've all heard of, First Day of School by Harry Wong. And then just my experiences of being a teacher myself, and then the amazing partnership with the elementary school across the street. And so we were able to build this program from our industry partners and Cal State San Bernardino as well.
Yeah, great. Wow, it's quite a transition from third grade. So thank you. So let's turn to right now to Dimitri. And Dimitri, with that historical context, could you give us a little overview? I know it's only a few minutes, but an overview of the course of study for the pathway.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dan. What makes Educators for Tomorrow Academy so powerful, it's not just a set of courses, it's like a really cohesive 4-year progression where students are learning how to teach while experiencing what great teaching looks like. So in the 9th grade, where the students start, they start off with child development, where students build a really strong foundation in how children grow, learn, and develop. This class is actually also an articulated class with our local San Bernardino Valley College Community College. Okay? By 10th grade, students move into Teacher Training 1, which Laura just mentioned, where they begin to actually explore the profession more intentionally. learning instructional strategies, lesson design, foundations for teaching. And it's not isolated. They're applying those skills across their academic classes through real project-based work and cross-curricular projects, which is fantastic. In the 11th grade, this is the experience becomes much more immersive through their teacher training too, and programs like Reading Buddies, which Laura actually helped develop with our program across the street, Rio Vista Elementary School. Students are placed in those classrooms working alongside mentor teachers and tutoring students and applying what they've actually learned in real time just across the street at Arroyo Valley High School. In 12th grade, everything really culminates with Teacher Training 3, our advanced capstone. Students complete really structured internships, take on real responsibility in the classrooms, and they receive feedback from mentor teachers and build those professional portfolios that are so important as you progress through your career. And what's great is that they're doing this as seniors in high school. Many are also earning certifications like CPR AED, and also now with our partnership with San Bernardino County Education, they're completing a pre-apprenticeship program, which is just another layer, right? And now on top of all that, we've also embedded early college credit opportunities through both Valley College and Cal State San Bernardino. So we have 2 dual enrollment courses being taught that actually count towards the teaching credential at Cal State San Bernardino. So students are experiencing college level coursework while in high school, which again, it's an added benefit. So by the time they graduate, our students haven't just studied education, they've really lived it. They've taught it, they've reflected, they've led, and they leave with a clear pathway into college and careers in education, which is so important.
Yeah, wow, that's great. And just the level of student engagement from beginning to end, combined with the relevant, really college credit and college experience is awesome. So to make that happen, we know there has to be a lot going on at the district level in terms of the systems and practices. So I'd like to turn to you, Dr. Venkatesan, to tell us from the district perspective and the district leader how you support successful implementation of the Educators for Tomorrow Academy and many others like it across the district.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. From the district perspective, there are a few key things that has really made this work. First, we were very clear about the vision. The board adopted linked learning approach district-wide. So it became a district priority, not just something that's happening only at few schools. And just to add a bit of context here, because it really shaped how we did our work. I was a director of curriculum and instruction. And when the CTE director retired, the department came under my leadership. So that gave us a chance to fix a real problem. Academics and CTE were working separately and sometimes sending mixed messages to schools. So bringing them together helped everyone aligned and moving in the same direction. And from there, we started looking at everything through an academic lens and built a framework that connects curriculum as well as the CTE. We just didn't add the CTE on. We designed pathways so everything was working seamlessly. So a big part was making sure courses are both CTE approved as well as A through G approved. So students really don't have to choose between college and career options. That work is actually grounded in our purposeful pathways framework, which is really the backbone of what we do. And it is a connected system that brings together rigorous academics, industry certifications, work-based learning, post-secondary connections like dual enrollment and strong industry partnerships. Along with that, we intentionally built real-world skills like communication and interview skills, which is always something that the students say that we lack on. So the students are really prepared for what comes next. Not just academically, they are also professionally prepared. So we are seeing this really come to life in schools like Arroyo, where students are making connections, as Dimitri was mentioning, across their learning and applying it in actual real world settings, which actually keeps them engaged and meaningful. So they now want another one started across, our district now. So, and also, very importantly, the sustainability option and access was very important. Our pathway framework has been built in such a way there is not a single student who has turned away when he or she is interested in enrolling in a pathway. And then we see this in our data. So our graduation rates, our A through G completion, college and career indicator, dual enrollment, college going rate have all been increasing at a very strong pace. That is the real testament that our systems are really working and serving the needs of our students, right?
Yeah.
And finally, we also have the right support structures in place. I serve as a director, and I do have two assistant directors. And then we have a specific workforce development coordinator whose job is just to make sure that the students are connected to certifications and they find the apprenticeships and apprenticeships in the future once they graduate out of school. And that ensures that, and then there is also a pathway lead in every one of the school. Like Dimitri is a pathway lead at Arroyo, and we have one at every one of these high schools who become the point person. So we have built a structure of support, so the schools are not alone. So when you put all this together, a clear vision, a strong framework, and the right support, and that's what has made this work very sustainable.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I love it hearing you describe that at that level, especially that highlighting that vision and across the district, how important that is, as well as that academic lens. And you said, considering CT is not an add-on. So really quickly, Dimitri, maybe you have just, if you could highlight just from the site level perspective, what would be one thing, the one thing that you would add? We just have about a minute, but if you could just, what would you add to that from your perspective?
Yeah, Dan, you know what? Honestly, I think for us at the site level, I'll just kind of build on what's already been said. Everything starts really with what we call our Academy Equity template. And we built this to really ensure that every student, regardless of their academy, which that's what we call in our pathways on our campus academies, is getting access to a consistent, high quality experience. And that includes project-based learning, industry guest speakers, field experiences, micro internships, parent engagement, recognition opportunities. So it's not random, it's mapped out across 4 years. Students move from that exposure to skill building, to real world application, to internships, to post-secondary transition. That's how we ensure that equity is guaranteed by design, not by accident. And if I can just jump in real quick, one more little piece,
sure,
and that is funding, and how we approach it really strategically. We really look to blend and braid a lot of our funding across multiple streams like LCAP, Perkins, Strong Workforce, CTEG, Golden State Pathways. And we're also working with San Bernardino Valley College currently on a Gates Foundation grant. So, we've developed a really common practice around that grant writing so that everything is really aligned. So we're not chasing funding every year. We're actually building a really coherent system.
Thanks. Thank you for that, for rounding that out for us. I'd really like to turn now to Alani. We're so excited, Alani, to hear from you since you just graduated last year. And so could you please tell us, how did the pathway influence where you are now and how it's influencing your transition from high school to college and to career?
Hi guys, my name is Alani and I am a 2025 alumni from Arroyo Valley High School. Arroyo really influenced how I am today as an educator because they gave me so many different opportunities. We've done so many different things with them, and they touched on it earlier, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But everything really helped me. Like today, I work in the community in so many different ways. Sorry, I'm outside, guys, so if you hear background noise. I am a after school teacher, and that job came from me being at AVHS and going to that school every week for reading buddies. So after me going every week for reading buddies, I started doing my volunteer hours there after school. And then, so their staff connected me to the after school program. And the after school program connected me to actually getting hired there. So now I am an after school teacher at Rio Vista Elementary. And then I also am a cheer coach. And the funny thing about the cheer coaching is it's exactly where I am right now. I'm currently at Arroyo Valley High School right now, and it's under like a little league for Arroyo Valley High School. So that's helped me work with kids as well. And then as far as the college pathway, I go to Valley College, so it's very easy to transfer the knowledge and everything I learned, and it made it easier as a Valley College student because a lot of their pathways are online. Like they don't have many education in-person classes. So because I got that in-person experience, it helped me become the person I am today and really grow into the leader that I'm becoming. And I'm really excited. So thank you guys for this opportunity.
Awesome. Hey, can I ask you, Alani, so what are your kind of plans? What for the next couple years do you see? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, right now I'm in my first year of college. So I'm just finishing up college. I'm gonna take classes in the summer because I'm really eager to be an educator. So I'm trying to get there faster than what I would have in like a different program. Like I'm taking more classes so I can get there because I really enjoy working with the kids and then continuing my job as an after school program because you never as an after school program teacher because you never know as a mentor who you can help. And then
Yeah.
literally serving in my community like I'm doing now with coaching. So everything I'm doing now, but in a learning more as I go every day.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Wish you the best. So now we'd like to turn to Angela, and you met Alani when she was a youth leader with ICUC and also in the Educators for Tomorrow pathway. Could you share about the interest other students in San Bernardino have for this kind of pathway experience?
Yeah, of course. As a youth organizer, I work closely with like 5 different high school campuses here in the San Bernardino City Unified School District, Arroyo Valley High School being one of them. We have a clubs on campus called Students for Change, right, where we give the students the opportunity to have a voice, speak their concerns, like make them bridge relationships with people in the district, so they know like they have people who care, so at first, there's that conversation that we were having with the students. We're like, oh, this school has this pathway, but my school doesn't have this pathway. And it's like, okay, what can we do? And the pathway that Arroyo has for the the teacher pathway, it's like what like we had a survey going around on last school year, where we had 1,000 responses from 5 schools. 1,005 responses. Let me, if you all want to get specific, where students shared where we asked if they were aware of other different pathways in other schools, and they were saying like a high percentage was like a no. And so then we also had asked if, did you know there's an educators pathway at Arroyo Valley High School called Educators for Tomorrow? Folks were saying no, but like we also asked if you hadn't thought about becoming a teacher, but learned there was a guaranteed employment and great pay, would you consider becoming a teacher? Our district is really, not to brag, but they do pay our teachers really good from what I'm hearing, from what I'm learning. We asked, and we got 61% saying yes from the 1,000 responses we got. So it's like knowing that if students have this opportunity, this pathway, they would be like super down to become a teacher and mostly in their own community. Um, so this a listening campaign was inspired by students because of the pathways. They want the knowledge of pathways. They want to know, they want to be involved. They want them in their school campus. Um, and yeah, I'm not sure if I missed anything. I tried
Oh,
to summarize it as quick as I could.
that's great. Really appreciate your enthusiasm. I can see why you are so good at what you do. That's terrific. And actually, keeping with that theme of kind of growing your own in San Bernardino, there are going to be a number of questions for the panel, but I want to just turn it back one last time before we get to those questions to Laura. And as you reflect back on the 15 years you served as an instructor at the Pathway, what's one of your favorite success stories from a student or about a student that went through the Pathway?
There are so many success stories. We have so many teachers, educators, counselors in our district that came through the Educators for Tomorrow Academy. And the success stories continue to happen. And look at Alani, she's our newest one right now today. But one that is very, very near and dear to my heart is one of my students, Eduardo. Came in as a 10th grader, very, very quiet, sat in the back of my class, teacher training one. And, just worked with him. He was a reading buddy at the elementary school. He started his senior internship. He ended up running for president of the teaching academy at the time. That was our former name. Just bloomed into this amazing young man and just found a place, found his niche, knew that this was a place for him. He went to his senior internship was in a digital media arts academy on our campus. And so he was already teaching lessons and working with the students in our digital media arts academy. He has amazing skills with photography, digital media arts, and film. Went on to Cal State San Bernardino, finished with 3 CTE credentials before he even got his bachelor's degree. And then our district hired him, Arroyo Valley hired him back as a CTE teacher in the Digital Media Arts Academy. And now he's my colleague. We get to work together. There's so many of those stories, but Eduardo is very, very near and dear to my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. And I've had the privilege of seeing him teach and seeing his classroom. And I think clearly there is benefit from having been through the Pathway program himself as a student because he is, you would think he had a lot more years of experience when you go into his classroom and watch him teach. It's amazing. Or see what he had, not watch him teach, but see what he has his students doing and what he's supporting his students doing in the classroom. So thank you for that story. So let's turn to the questions now. Thank you all for the rich discussion. We have a few questions for you, and I'm going to start with the first question, who is from Flor Peralta. And the question is, as parents, what can we do to ensure that programs like the ones shared here become accessible in our schools, especially in a rural area? I don't know if Ava feel equipped to take on the rural part, but maybe we could start with Dr. Venkatesan. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the parents are the biggest advocate. And as they start, see, if a parent comes to me, and even Angela is like she sends me emails all the time. It just puts us the need in the forefront, right? So the more you reach out to your district, understand where the secondary department is, and go reach out to them and say, hey, we have heard this here in one of the meetings. Our students need this type of pathways. What can we do to bring this on? And advocacy is the biggest thing that, there are more parents that is asking, this is what we need. We see this working. And, we talked to LA Unified, we talked to San Bernardino Unified. We heard their stories, and can you get connected with them? So it's very easy in this world to get connected across and just pick up the phone and call each director, right? So the parents just putting that pressure on the district will help them, reach out to other districts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are happy to share everything that we have. If the parent that is actually ask that question, if they want to reach out to San Bernardino City Unified Secondary Education, we would be happy to help them.
All right. Thank you. Laura, did you want to add anything to that, or?
Did you see my face? Did it? Yes, I would love to. I just think, I think when, Dr. Venkatesan's response was the perfect response. But when you go and talk to your school district, it's the college and career readiness. And so a wise man once said that even the college student needs to look for a job someday. So even with the college degree, you need work experience, that hands-on experience, you need job readiness skills. And so the beauty of these pathways is it's preparing you for both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. And you know what, the only other thing I would add about the rural comment, depending on where it is, but if it's a very rural community and there are lots of rural communities around, sometimes going to the county office of education, again, depending on the county and where it is, they oftentimes will coordinate when there are just a bunch of very rural, small school districts and communities. So the next question is from Elvia Vasquez from the Sacramento Congregations Together. And the question is, do you have any recommendations for me as a mother and community leader that would help my district expand its reach? And in doing so, create more of these opportunities. It's a kind of similar question. So, but maybe Angela might want to jump in and offer a suggestion or two.
Yeah, honestly, you just have to have one-to-ones, get to know people because you don't know who knows who, and you might hit the jackpot sometimes if you network and share your stories and is able to get the district to listen. I'm blessed to have SBCUSD always supporting our work, always like youth voice and parents' voices, but the youth voice is like what can get folks' attention. And Elvia, if you ever also like want to talk and share more where your story is at and see what can what's going on and what's happening, maybe I can give you more of a little bit of like help or support if I can. I don't have the answers all the time.
All right. Thank you. One thing I would add to that is that in the Sacramento area, if it happens to be Sacramento City Unified School District, they do have some linked learning pathways and some pathways like this there, and you should definitely contact the CTE office in Sacramento City Unified if that's what it is. Does anybody else, is there anyone else that would want to jump in on that question? Otherwise, I'm going to go to the next question, which is, this is from Tara Kinney at LPI. Do you have any advice about how to bring in small and large businesses, employers at nonprofit organizations, et cetera, to support jobs and internships for your students? Maybe, I don't know, Dimitri, would you have something?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we mentioned earlier, not being your own best kept secret. Promoting your programs, not only on your campus in your district, but out in the community. Reach out to your local business bureau, whether or not it's within your city or the city next door. Look to host. We just hosted a college and career fair where we had over 76 vendors sign up, and ranging from small colleges to local industry partners who are looking to hire our students, not just within the pathways that we offer on our campus, but pathways that have a reasonable industry connection to those pathways. So it's really important to promote and get your voice out there. Make sure your social media is tight. Make sure that whatever you're doing as far as your marketing on your campus, make sure it's unified. Make sure you're getting out to your feeder schools. You never know what kind of business partner may be at one of these at these feeder schools. It could be a parent who has a business who's looking to invest or expand their business. So it's really important. Get your brand out there. Get your students out there. Get them. They're your best advertising. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? I'm gonna go run and get. I'm gonna get Alina right now. I'm gonna have to pull her back in for recruitment just to make sure so we can bring in some more people. But yeah, get your voice out there.
Great.
So
Thank you.
that
Anybody
that's
else?
been the big, yeah, that's been our biggest focus, making sure that we keep adding and expanding our industry connections. We work with all the labor unions as well because they really know where the areas of development, who's being hired, what could be the potential internship we can do. So we are friends with all the unions in and around the Inland Empire. And also we work very closely with the county because that's one of the biggest uh, you know, organization to hire people. So
Yeah.
then we especially our workforce coordinator, work closely with the county to see how we can align our pathways to their job positions that are open there. So that's one thing we do. And then we work with all the higher ed institutions who are connected in their own pathways, to different industries. So just by approximate number, there's close to 240 different industry partners we are working across in our district
Wow.
between all the schools and then whatever is from the district point of view. So that has been our biggest thing. We want that connection so we can have the latest technology as well as where are the jobs at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great. 240. That's awesome. Thanks. And we have a final question from Aaliyah Lopez, a Salinas School District parent, who asks, how can parents help their child to get resources to go to college when they're the first in their family to do so? I know that's an important part of the pathway work. So,
Yeah, colleges have started offering, this is very near and dear to me. Thank you for asking that question. Colleges have started instant admits. And if there is a local, for example, our district has signed up with Cal State San Bernardino. And then we have that, CCGI. That's a platform that is shared by the schools as well as by different, UCs and CSUs. So all our students transcript, like they go there and they look at who are the ones that are already A through G eligible, and an automatic conditional admission is offered to them. So one of the questions is for the parent to go and ask is, how can we promote the college going culture in our district? What can we do? Do you have that platform that share information, seamless information between the districts and the school sites? And then now in fact, in another 10 days, we are having it with our community college. So where the community college comes and visits each one of our schools, and then they already have the transcripts and the information about the students. And then they say, here you go, you're admitted. And then the students are walked through the process of the FAFSA and all those things. So we have, as I said, like with the student achievement, the college going rate for us has tremendously increased because of that. It's not just for the public universities. We are also doing it with Redlands now, University of Redlands. We have signed MOUs with many different private colleges as well.
yeah. All right. Thank you. And we're going to end it there on that very positive note. Thank you, all the panelists, for sharing your experiences and your wisdom with us. And thanks to everyone for your thoughtful questions. And I will pass it back to Jessica.
Thank you so much, Dan, for facilitating that discussion. I definitely didn't want that panel to end as well. But we know that we covered a lot of information, and we're gonna reshare the website to where we will post the recording of this session in the three languages, Spanish, Arabic, and English, of course. So just a thank you to all of the speakers for sharing your practices and really inspiring us that this is possible. We could feel the passion of all of you, your different teams and the students, and we're just so proud of the work that you're doing.